Hi everyone, thank you for taking time out of your day to join us again for another episode. I hope you all have had a great day. And this week, we are going to be continuing our discussion from the topic that was brought up last week about bullying. If you did not listen to that episode, for context, you may want to listen to that one first, then come back to this one. But both of them are going to be about the same. But last week, we discussed Christians and bullying in these Christian atmospheres and how sometimes it takes place in places that you don't expect. And I was more so talking to the leaders of these groups who allow it to happen, knowing that it is not in the eyes of God to continue to allow this to happen. So today we're going to just be talking about it in general and the negative effects that it has on people and why we should be careful how we treat the people in our lives. You know, as someone, I was not bullied per se, but there has been people who have looked at me differently, treated me differently, and some people experience that, especially if you just look different, if you sound different, if you talk different. You get people who just continuously look down upon you. And I'm not the type of person that will say prove them wrong, because when you're going through life and succeeding, you should be doing it for yourself. The people in your lives that's making fun of you or mistreating you, you shouldn't be doing it for them. But in this case, I am going to say, show them that you are better than. Show them that their comments or their looks at you did not impact you, but it actually helped to create a better version of yourself. Sometimes we just need that little push, that push into the right direction to help us regain our strength that was taken from us. And so people don't understand the negative impacts that bullying can have on someone. I mean, some people who have been bullied, really badly will probably probably grow up to become serial killers. They'll probably grow up to be school shooters, or they may just commit suicide. And even though I don't bully, if I were someone who did, I would not want to be the reason why someone would take their own life or who would jeopardize their future. But some people just don't care. Some bullies just do it just because they feel they can. I'm always for standing up for yourself, and I'm still for that, but you've got to be able to stand up for yourself in a safe way. Not everyone fights fair anymore. So just watch your back. But I can guarantee you, don't let anyone force you to be involved in a group with someone that you do not want to be involved in. The reason I say that is because that's how we sometimes can get in these situations where we are being treated negatively. It's because of the friends that we hang out with. I always say your friend circle should reflect your values and who you are and what you stand for. And even though they may not perfectly do that, or they may not be able to perfectly meet those needs, but you should be trying to find people who in some way matches your energy, matches your vibe, matches your aspirations, things like that. And sometimes we feel that it's necessary to have friends. We want friends so bad that we end up attaching ourselves to the first person that smiles in our face. And we should have self-esteem. We should have enough self-respect and self-love for ourselves that we don't just settle for anything. Look at how you will want to be treated, and then surround yourself with people who respect that, and surround yourself with those people, and you make sure that you are reflecting what you want them to do unto you. So if you want them to be nice to you, you return it. If you want them to be reassuring you, you return it. Because friendships and relationships, I don't believe they should be transactional. I just believe that you should be treating people the way you will want to be treated, not treating someone a certain way, like treating them nicely, and then making them treat you right or making them do something for you. I know people who, if they give a gift to someone, they automatically are like, well, where's mine? Friendships and relationships should not be transactional. What should matter is the love that you have for that person, the care that you have for that person. So that's really a way to try to avoid these bullying situations and things like that. Surround yourself with people who are going to respect you for who you are and accept you for who you are. But when you surround yourself with people who you know don't reflect what you believe in and your values, then that's bound to happen. There's been, I have a lot of people that I know that cannot carry a conversation with someone that they disagree with. And when you're an adult, you should really be trying to work on being a little bit more open-minded. So surround yourself with people who can at least try to reflect your values, but that's not saying that you're not going to have disagreements. Disagreements going to happen, but how do they handle those disagreements? Do you guys always get into a blow up, or are there always personal attacks or like small little jabs every time that you disagree? Because you got to work on that. You got to work on that. Friendships is all about caring, loving, kindness, support, and you're not going to get that from hanging out with the wrong crowd. Another thing that we have to watch is, what do we say to people? Are the words that we're using, is it going to damage them mentally? Because I don't think we think about this enough. Sometimes the words that we use to people, they can hurt much worse than any scar or any scratch on our body, because those may heal up. But once you say something to someone with the intent to hurt their feelings or damage their mental health, those things stick with them. Those things stick with them. And so you have to ask yourself, because sometimes whenever we get in these disagreements, we just say something to kind of get them to shut up. And sometimes that means hitting below the belt. And that's not the healthiest way to resolve those issues. We've got to be able to learn how to hold our tongue, you know? So ask yourself, whenever you have a disagreement and you're getting ready to respond, is what I'm about to say going to harm them emotionally, mentally? And is this going to damage our friendship for good? There's some things that you can say to someone that you can't come back from. You can apologize. You can say, you know what, I really regret saying that. But those, to be honest, those are just words. Even when you apologize and you say something that is just so downright dirty, those things can still stick with that person forever. Ask yourself, is it my intent to hurt this person? Or do I just need to come back when I am a little bit more calmed down and have this discussion when we are both in the right state of mind? Because when we are super mad and angry and we're just like, oh, I can't believe he did this to me, we can say some of the meanest, nastiest things to that person. And even though that's just an argument that you may have had, an argument can have long lasting effects. So you got to think about that. And you also have to remember who it is that you're talking to. Am I talking to a friend? Am I talking to a family member? Because, your words hurt. And some people, when they try to terrorize people, they're usually hurt themselves. Because sometimes when they bully people, it is something, the words that they use can probably be a sign of what they were told when they were younger. Or it's just an insecurity that they may have that they're just taking it out on you. At the end of the day, it's not the healthiest way to resolve conflict. If you truly care about someone, you're not going to do anything and everything to damage that relationship. Don't try to terrorize someone just because you feel that it's okay. If you are having a hard time and you have not fully grieved a certain part in your life, don't take it out on someone else, because you're damaging them, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally. You got to be careful how you treat people. You never know the effects of what you do to someone or what you say to someone. You never know what effects that it could have on their mind. So you just got to ask yourself, if you're upset, just say, you know what, Lord, just go to God. If you're a Christian, just go to God, because that's what brings me peace. Whenever I get super upset and I could just say anything that comes to my mind and I know that's going to be super harmful, I just go to God and I just pray, because there is just so much peace when you just go to God and spend alone time with Him and open your word. And even if you're not a Christian, maybe just take some time and just meditate. Do something that you love. Like, get a hobby. Like maybe go cook or bake a cake or something like that. And then come back and have this conversation when you've cooled off or when you've calmed down. Because you never want the words that you use to be the reason for why a long-lasting friendship that could have been forever, you don't want your words to damage that and make it temporary. So I thank you all for tuning in today. And if you have any questions or want to talk about anything that you may be personally dealing with, I will link my DMs, my Instagram, into the description box, and you can DM me or leave a comment. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.